The Knights of the Round have arrived, everyone. Soberoni of G&A Reviews here with a servant spotlight for an archer with a bow,
びっくり。アーチャーって本当にアーチャーなんだ。
Tristan. We'll be examining his stats and skills, as well as going over pointers and how to utilize him effectively, and an overall grade comparing him to how he stacks up to the other 4-star servants. I also have a spotlight out for the other story-locked Camelot servants, Lancer, Arturia, and Gawain, so do check those out right after this. But for now, on to Tristan's stats. Tristan has a max HP of 11,637, which is average for a 4-star archer and above average overall for a 4-star servant. His attack of 9,735 is high for a 4-star archer, and after applying the archer damage modifier, his attack becomes 9,248, which is still average for a 4-star servant. Taking a look at his skills, his first skill is Harp of Healing rank C. It removes mental debuffs from all allies, applies evade for 1 time to all allies, and restores all allies' HP between 200 and 600 depending on level. His second skill is Unblessed Birth rank B. It increases his Noble Phantasm gauge between 30 to 50% depending on level, and it also inflicts NP seal for 1 turn on himself as a demerit. His third skill is King of Knights Admonition rank B. It removes all buffs from an enemy and decreases their critical hit rate for 3 turns between 10 to 20% depending on level. His passives are Magic Resistance rank B, which increases debuff resist by 17.5%, and Independent Action rank B, which increases his crit strength by 8%. Taking a look at his deck and Noble Phantasm, Tristan has an Arts Quick deck with Quick, Arts Buster, and a Quick Noble Phantasm. His Noble Phantasm is Fail Not. It applies Sure Hit for 1 turn and deals significant damage to a single enemy with between a 1200% and 2000% damage modifier depending on level, and it also decreases debuff resist for the enemy for 3 turns between 30 to 70% depending on overcharge. This can be upgraded through an interlude, which will increase the damage modifier to between 1600 to 2400% depending on level, and also adds the effect of ignoring defense. Taking a closer look at his deck, we see that his Quick card hits 4 times, his Arts hits 3 times, his Buster hits 5 times, and his Extra Attack hits 6 times. His NP gain rate is 0.58%, and his star rate is 8.10%. He has high Noble Phantasm gain and good star generating due to the double Quick and double Arts deck with high hit counts. Tristan is a high utility archer that specializes in star generating and support skills, and in a lot of respects he is similar to the 3-star archer David. Most notably, they do share a similar skill in Harp of Healing. This is Tristan's best support skill, and just like with David, it gives the entire party a 1-time evade and a small heal. This is great for having your team dodge an enemy Noble Phantasm, and it gives Tristan strong utility, especially as a swap-in support with Battlesuit. Unfortunately, the removing mental debuffs effect is very situational, as it only works on charm, so most of the time you won't even need it. His second skill, Unblessed Birth, gives Tristan a Noble Phantasm charge steroid that synergizes with his good Noble Phantasm gain, making him a potent Noble Phantasm spammer in the right team comp. However, the skill does have a huge demerit with the NP seal that it sticks on you for a turn, making it extremely counterproductive, and it prevents you from being able to Noble Phantasm back to back like some casters can. You really need to be aware of that demerit and strategize around it. Finally, Tristan's last skill, King of Knights Admonition, gives him another big piece of utility with a targeted enemy buff removal and a decrease in enemy crit rate. It's almost identical to Jack's Information Erasure skill. The crit rate debuff is good situationally, but the buff removal is the strongest portion of this skill, and when combined with Harp of Healing, it gives Tristan very high utility during challenge quests and as a switch-in support when the enemy gets buff happy or is about to Noble Phantasm your team into oblivion. For skill priority, you should go with Harp of Healing for the reduced cooldown and slightly better heal, followed by Unblessed Birth for the better Noble Phantasm spam capabilities, and then lastly, King of Knights, as that's the most situational. Tristan's usefulness goes beyond his skill set, as he boasts very good star generating capabilities due to the high hit counts and quick leaning deck. He's absolutely viable as a crit servant himself as well because of his naturally high star absorb and independent action passive. And as I mentioned earlier, his NP gain is very good as well, allowing him to Noble Phantasm frequently. His Noble Phantasm is a single target nuke that has the added benefit of going through evade and ignoring defense post-interlude. Unfortunately, it doesn't hit through invincibility though, and although it can hit hard thanks to the interlude, Tristan's lack of any damage buffs at all really hinder his edge as an offensive powerhouse. As I said earlier, he is similar to David in his status as a high utility archer, but Tristan trades the better damage and survivability that David has in the forms of his charisma and divine protection skills for essentially better star generating and enemy buff removal. That limits Tristan's major strength to quick teams, as David tends to be better in arts and buster setups. Thankfully, his deck accommodates this. Aside from his lack of attack buffs, I should note that while he is a good star generator, he hurts from the fact that he also has high star absorb, so he will tax most of the stars he generates for himself unless you have a rider or someone with a star absorb skill or craft essence on your team. So keep that in mind. And also, I know I mentioned it, but I do want to stress it again, the Noble Phantasm seal on his second skill really sucks. Quick teams are where Tristan shines, especially because quick teams often lack survivability. Tristan can take on two different roles as either the supporter or the attacker. As a support, you want to take advantage of his star generating as well as his skills, so you're going to want to pair him with quick crit servants like Ryder Kentucky, Ogita, Ushi, Billy the Kid, Ku Prototype, Astolfo, Scott and Mary, or Berserker Lancelot. If you want to use Tristan as your main offensive servant and build a team around him, then you'll start by compensating for his major weaknesses, his lack of attack buffs. So pair him with Caesar, Skahawk, Atlanta, Waver, Hans, Shuten, or Nero Bride. Tristan's Bondcraft Essence, A Single Lie, increases crit damage of all allies by 25% while he is on the field. This is a great craft essence that synergizes with his use as a support. You can also use 2030, Be Elegant, 3 Great Heroes, or really anything that boosts star generating if you do want to use him more as a support. If you want to use him offensively, then go for craft essences that boost damage and crit star generating like Lunar Hot Spring, Imaginary Around, or Holy Night Sign. Finally, for Noble Phantasm gain, your best bets are Divine Banquet, Fox Knight's Dream, or Vessel of the Saint. I especially recommend Vessel of the Saint so that you can counter the Noble Phantasm seal on your second skill. Overall, Tristan is a somewhat complicated servant that is hard to place. He isn't bad by any means, packing good stats, very strong utility skills, and good star generating, as well as a powerful, spammable Noble Phantasm. However, he is limited to only working well in quick and crit teams. He has no damage buffs whatsoever, a very damaging demerit on his second skill, and even when used offensively, he doesn't quite match up well against other similar servants in his class and rarity, namely Emiya and Nobu. So overall, Tristan gets a B- from me. He is a decently good servant in his niche, and I would say he works better as a support than offensively. But there are very few scenarios where he outshines David. If they removed the demerit on his second skill and added a quick buff or attack buff to his kit, I think it would go a long way toward improving him and giving him a more unique identity, especially since quick archers are such a rarity. And those are my thoughts on Tristan. If you did roll him, I hope this guide helped you learn new ways to make use of him. If so, let me know in the comments below, and do check out the Lancer Arturia and Godwin Spotlights, linked both on screen right now and in the description. Don't forget to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and consider subscribing if you really enjoyed the video. Join the party over at our Discord, chill with us on Twitch, and follow us on Twitter. And I'll see you all in the next Servant Spotlight. Soberoni out. Later.